Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to teach you on what is the difference between displacement and distance. So ano nga ba pag sinabi nating distance? And ano naman kapag displacement? And displacement is new to us, right? Distance, lagi mo nahihear yan. So yung total distance travel mo sa kotse, on how far you come, from your house to your school, how many distance are there? So what is the difference between? Where are you gonna introduce displacement? So displacement is a vector quantity. Okay? So magsusulat ako ng example dito. So itong taong to is on the number line, which is he is first on a position A, which is 0. And he travels to position B, which is 5. So what is displacement? I mean, what is the distance? Okay. So what is the distance? And what is his? Is it displacement? So what is them? Ano yan? What is that? So okay. So ang distance, okay, let's say it's a capital D. Ang distance is the sum of value of all his position. Lahat ng value niya. Lahat ng x value. And it need to be an absolute value. Because this distance cannot be negative because it is a scalar quantity. So, ang absolute value niya is yung net force niya sa A and position niya sa B, which is 5. From starting position. Okay, so 5 ang kanyang distance. 5 meters. And what we say about displacement. So displacement is just almost the same of this distance, but displacement measures your final position and your initial position. So ito yung position nyo from your last position minus your first position. So ang first position niya is ang last position niya is 5 meters. And ang final position niya, starting position niya is 0. So, now let's move on to our example. Another example on how we will illustrate this kind of, So, let's say we have another number line. So, number line is better to represent on what we're representing of. So let's say we have this thing. So let's say there's a human on position A. He is on -4 on the number line. And then, what he did is, let me think of, he traveled 5 meters in the 5 line, which is position B. And then what he next does is he travel again to that thing, to -2. So this is position C. That is the position. So position A nasa -4 siya, and then position B is +5. Position C now is -2. So what is the distance? So what we're going to do here is just add all of the values. We're going to add his distance from A to B. So what is his distance from A to B? So absolute value lang yan ng -4 plus the absolute value ng 5. So what we're just going to do is just add them and remove the negative sign. So absolute value ng 4 is 4, and ang distance from A to B is 9. And we're not done yet. We need to calculate his distance from position B to position C. So what is it? Let me just write. Let me just write 9. So let me remove this. So position niya sa position B and position niya sa position C. Oh, what I'm saying, position. So 15 plus the absolute value of -2. So what we're just going to do is just add 5 plus 7, which is 7. Add 5 plus 2 is 7. So yun yung distance niya from position B to position C. And what we're going to do is just add them. And that's our answer for the distance. So now, what is his displacement? So what we're going to do here is just calculate the position, last position, and then the initial position. So position niya sa C is negative 2, and position niya sa A is negative 4. And then negative 2 plus 4, which is yung displacement niya is positive 2 meters. And that's it for this problem. Okay, let me delete this and let's illustrate more. If you do not understand it pa, we're going to illustrate another problem. So let's say we have a number line. So yung ibang problem is not on the number line but meron lang siyang given kung saan siya nagpupunta. Like northwest, east, south. Later, I will introduce that things. So we have negative 2, which is position A niya. And then he travels sa 4. So as you can see, we can just see the distance here, which is 6. But let's do some math to do that. So ang position niya is position B. Let's calculate the position A to B. Yung distance niya. So this will be just become negative 2 plus the 4. So absolute value lang yan. And 2 plus 4. And then 2 plus 4 is 6. And that's the answer for this distance. And how about the displacement? So just position B minus the position A, which is final position minus the initial position. And then 4 minus negative 2. And then change in x is equals to, so distribute the sign, we got 6 meters. And that's the answer for this problem. Example. Now let's keep moving. Let's say wala na tayong number line but we have enough person in the position A travels, let's say what? Okay, let's say 10 meters, 10 miles, okay. MI is 4 miles, okay. So position B. So nag-travel siya sa position A, which is 0 to 10 miles. And then next, nag-travel siya 6 miles. East. This is east kasi kaliwa. So distance, we're just going to add 10 miles plus 6 miles. Or this is the absolute value of the sum of x. So 0 plus 6, 10 plus 6 is 16 miles. That's actually miles, not meters. So change in x, dito naman displacement is change in b. No. Hey, I got a sneeze. Position C minus position position BC and position AB. So it's just become 6 and minus positive 10. So just 6 minus 10, which is what number? Actually, this is negative, and negative rin yung 10 kasi he is going from the east, which is negative x direction. So negative 6 minus negative 10, pag dinistribute natin yung negative sign, we got negative 16 miles as for his or her displacement. Let me write that. Okay, this is actually miles, not meters. So let's get another problem sample before we move on to word problem. So let's say this person travels 3 miles west and 4 miles north. So what is his displacement or and distance? So paano natin makaka-calculate kapag hindi na siya sa x value? Nagpunta na siya sa taas, lumipad. So this corresponds for his displacement. So let's say it just change in x, which is clearly not just becoming a symbol. So ang distance, what we're going to do here is just add the sum of value on x direction, and we're going to add the y values, the sum in y values. So 3 lang yun yung x direction and 4 lang sa kabila. So we got 7 miles. So now how to calculate the distance. So let's just set the change in value of x. Let's set it to some letter. Let's say d. Small letter d. Small letter d for displacement. So to solve this problem, we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. So d squared is equal to 3 squared plus 4 squared. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. D squared is equals to 9 plus 16 is 25. Now what we're going to do is just take the square root of both sides, and we got 5. We got 5 miles. It's our unit. And that's it. Now let's move on to world problems. So let's say an object moves from position x sub 1 yan, okay, equals to negative 8 meters to x sub 2, which is 12 meters, then to position x sub 3 equals negative 20 miles. So part A, what is the total distance traveled by the object? And part B, what is the displacement? So to solve this problem, we're just going to analyze it. So total distance ang hinahanap dito. And then as you can see, puro x values lang siya, which means it travels from negative x to positive x. As we can see here, we have negative 8 and we have positive 12 and then negative 20. So what we're going to do is just add all of them and put an absolute value so hindi siya mag-negative, because this distance is a scalar quantity. It cannot be negative. So x sub 1 absolute value, x sub 2 absolute value, plus x sub 3 absolute value, and distance is equals to absolute value ng negative 8. Plug in lang natin yung lahat ng values. X sub 2 is 12 plus x sub 3 is negative 20. And then taking all the positive values, it will become 8 plus 12 plus 20. So simple addition na lang to. 8 plus 12 plus 20, that is 40 miles. Wait, it is actually miles, not meters. Miles or meters? Oh my gosh. So I did some correction. I think it's meters. So meters yung unit. So kung miles yan, we're going to convert everything. We're going to convert miles into meters. So dimensional analysis yan. Now, let's go to part B. What is the displacement of this thing? So, applying the formula, we just get the change in x sub 3 and then x sub 1. And that's as simple as it. So, negative 20 minus negative 8. And then, we're just going to use simple algebra just to solve this problem. So, distributing the negative sign will give us a positive value. And x sub 3, 1, 1 is, what is this? Negative 12. So, it is negative 12 meters. No. Now, let's move on to our second problem. So, Zayden travels 50 meters west and then 100 meters south. Part A, how far did Zayden travel? And part B, what is her net displacement? So, let's move on to part A muna. So, displacement is just the sum on value on x and sum on the value on y. So, as you can see here, we have west-south. So, saan ba yung west-south na yan? So, sa north, So ang north is sa taas and then ang east is to the left side and ang north is sa right side and ang south is on the bottom. So sabi Zayden travels 50 meters west, which means he is going west. And then 100 meters south. So negative 100 meters kasi pupunta siya sa negative y direction. And then what we're going to do is just put another bracket here, which is this will be our distance or change in x value or the change in his position. So now what is this his distance? Her distance, I mean. So distance is equals to 50 plus negative 120 absolute value. So 120 yan. And then 50 plus 120 is 170. So his total distance is 170 meters. So now let's move on how to calculate her net displacement. Okay, I always thought Sidon is a boy. It's us. It's. I mean, I'm using my friends' names. Sidon. So what is her net displacement? So what we're going to do here is just use another Pythagorean theorem, so we can just basically solve this problem. So 50 squared plus negative 120 squared, and then this squared is equals to, so 50 squared or 50 times 50, what is the value? So using our calculator is 2500 plus okay, so may parenthesis to, negative 120 raised to the second power is what, 14,400. So what we're going to do is just add 2,500 plus 14,400, which is will give us 16,900. So taking the square root of both sides, so we can just get rid of the exponent. We got square root of 16,900 is 130. So Zayden travel has a displacement of 130 meters. So this actually. Now let's move on to our third problem. Wendell walks 100 meters east and then travels 70 meters north, followed by, okay, that's by 140 meters east. Calculate the total distance and displacement. So yung distance, we're just going to add all of the values given. So, di ko na write yung absolute values and then yung mga negative signs. Papatagal lang yan. So, kita nyo na naman agad, if there's a given, what is the distance? Just add all of them. So we got 170 plus 140, which is 310 meters. That's our unit. So now let's move on calculating his displacement. So what is Wendell's displacement? So to do this, we need to analyze the problem. So 100 meters east, which means he is going from negative x direction, which means he has an negative magnitude, so negative 100 meters. And then north is 70 meters. So mali pala yung nalagay ko dito. Let me delete all of this and analyze this problem more briefly. So sabi dito, Wendell walks 100 meters east. He is going in the negative x direction. So he will have a negative magnitude. And then he travels 70 meters north. So we got on the positive y-axis. And then followed by 140 meters east. So that means he's going to negative x direction once again. So as you can see in this problem, we cannot use Pythagorean theorem because look at this. So what we're going to do here is just use the concept of vector units. So if you know how to add vectors, we can basically know how to solve this kind of problem. So you need a background in linear algebra or algebra, college algebra, I think, to solve this, or maybe yes. So we're going to add the vectors from the x values. So this is just basically negative 140 plus negative 100 meters. So ganyan siya, palabasan niya kapag inad natin yung dalawang ganyan. And then 70 meters on the upward. So as you can see, makadraw na tayo ng right triangle. Which means we can basically solve this problem by using Pythagorean theorem once again. So Pythagoreans are winning. They're winning on this kind of problems. Calculating the displacement. So this squared is equals to, okay, the sum of the other leg, which is negative 240 meters. So 70 squared plus negative 240 squared. And this squared is equals to 70 squared is with, what is 70 times 70? It's 14,000, 14,000 or 1,400. I thought I'm going to add more zero. And then negative 440 squared. What is it? So it is 557,600. So 1,400 plus 57,600 is what? It is, and then we just take the square root 2. Okay, 59,000. And then we're going to take the square root of 59,000. We will have 242.8 meters. So that is Wendell's total displacement. Now let's move on to our fourth problem. Aaron walks 120 meters east, 100 meters south, and then 40 meters west. What is the total distance traveled by Aaron and what is his net displacement? So distance muna tayo. So ito pinaka-basic, we're just going to add all of the values given. We're not going to write the positive, negative, absolute value. That's just a waste of time. But if you want to show your work, you gotta need to add that. So now let's move on to displacement. Wait. Pareho kasi hindi no. So Aaron walks 100 meters east, which means he is going on the negative x direction. And then he just go to 100 meters south, which means he is going to negative y direction. And then 40 meters west. Where is west? So on the right. So 40 meters west. So again, as you can see, we cannot use Pythagorean theorem, which means we're just going to add the other x values, yung top and bottom. So this is just the same as negative 120 plus 40 meters. So who is going to win? Of course, the negative side. We got negative 80. So we can just throw this like this. And like this. And there you go. As you can see, we have our right triangle na agad. So negative 150 meters dito. And then we have negative 80 meters. Adding negative 120 and 40 meters. So to calculate the displacement, we're just going to use this formula. Or the Pythagorean theorem once again. So there you go. There you go. And there you go. So there you have it. So the total displacement, we're just gonna use simplifying this thing. Negative 150 squared plus negative 80 squared. Then add those values and then take the square root. And we got this value. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something. And have a good day.